Welcome back everyone. In this section, we are going to look into Hyperledger Fabric network creation step by step. A Fabric permission blockchain network is a technical infrastructure that provides ledger service to application consumers and administrators. In most cases, multiple organizations come together as a consortium to form the network, and their permissions are determined by a set of policies that are agreed to by the consortium when the network is originally configured. So in the following slides, I'll take you through the decisions that organization will need to make to configure and deploy a Hyperledger Fabric network, and also to form a channel to transact within the network, and how to update these decisions in the life of the network. So please revisit this slide once you understand the process which I'm going to explain in the next particular steps. So basically, to summarize this slide, we have organization RA, RB, RC, and RD who have decided to jointly invest in a Fabric blockchain network. So organization RA will contribute 3 peers and two client applications, and RA will consume the services of blockchain network. And organization RB will contribute 4 peers and has one client application. Organization RC contributes 3 peers and has two client application. And organization RD contributes four orderers or order peers. So organization RA and RB have decided to form a consortium and exploit a separate application channel between the two of them. So organization RB and organization RC have decided to form another consortium and also exploit the separate application channel between the two of them. So each of the application channel has its own policy. So as I've told you before, please do revisit this whenever it is needed while I'm explaining the next slide. So from next slide, I'm going to explain it to you how the network will get formed in an incremental fashion. So let us consider this as a fabric network that we are going to build. So first thing that we need for a network is an orderer. As you can see here, you have one orderer which is facilitated by the certification authority 4, and it is governed by the organization RD, and it has to adhere to the policies that are mentioned here, which is network policy 1. So this is the first step in creating the network. As part of second step, RA and RB, that is organization A and organization B, has come forward to form a consortium. For that, organization A as facilitated by the certification authority CA1 to give the certificates to RA, and organization B is facilitated by certification authority 2 to get the certificates. Now, creating a channel for consortium. In the previous slide, you can see that RA and RB has created the consortium X1. Now, in order for them to take place in the communication in a private manner, channel is needed. So they create the channel which is in turn connected to orderer, and this channel has to abide by the channel policy 1 rules, which is agreed by both RA and RB, which is organization A and organization B. So channel 1 is connected to both RA and RB. Here we are adding one peer to the channel. So as you can see here, peer 1 is again facilitated by certification authority 1 to get the certificates to identify himself or herself or that node to the channel. And this is governed by organization A. Now comes the application and the smart contract. So application A1, which is facilitated by certification authority 1 and also governed by organization A, is connected to channel 1, which you can see here, and that in turn is connected to peer, which holds the smart contract ES4, and it has a ledger L1 for this particular channel. Next, Growing the network. This means in the previous section, you have seen you have only P1 as a peer, which is governed by organization B. In the next step, RB or organization B decides to contribute one peer to the network or to the channel. So that's why RB contributes P2 as the node that it governs, and application A2 to talk to the channel in order to access the peer information that are present in peer. And the same smart contract has been deployed, that is S4, and the ledger for that particular node P2. And here, A1 application 1 is governed by organization A and application 2 is governed by organization B, as well as P2 is also governed by organization B. Next, next in the process, RB and RC comes together and forms another consortium in the existing network. So, as you can see here, in the previous section, we had only one consortium, which was X1. In this slide, you have one more consortium, which is X2, which constitutes RB and RC partnership. Moving on, to communicate the transactions or to communicate privately, we need another channel for this consortium, which includes organization B and organization C. So that is why we have channel C2, which is connected to an orderer node, and it has to abide by channel policies 2, which is already agreed by organization B and organization C. So this channel C2 contains uh, it facilitates the channel policies that is agreed by organization B and organization C. And moving forward, organization B and organization C can bring in their peers which can connect to C2, and they can also bring in applications that can connect to C2. That we will see in the next section. Sorry, next slide. So in here, as I told, C2 is governed by RB and RC consortium, and A3 is an application that is governed by RC again, and RC is contributing a peer P3 and it is connected to channel C2. So the smart contract that is deployed is S5, and the ledger that the peer is maintaining for this channel, which is C2, is L2. Next, joining a peer to multiple channel. As we have seen in the previous section, P2 was part of the channel C1. Now, organization B decides that P2 will be part of both channel C1 and C2. So that is why you can see it in the picture that P2 is connected to C2 as well, which is channel 2. Now, this is a fully formed network which combines both the channel creations and everything else that we have talked in the previous slides. I'll summarize anyway. So as you can see here, you have two consortium. One consortium contains organization A and organization B, and another consortium contains organization B and organization C. Each of the consortium has to abide by their own rules, which is the channel policy 1 in case of consortium RA and RB, and channel policy 2 in case of consortium organization B and organization C. So you have two channels, which is C1 and C2, and you have three application A1, A2, A3. You have four certification authority. You have one orderer node, and you have three peer nodes. As you can see from the figure, certification authority A is facilitating the certificates for A1, P1, and organization A, which means organization A relies on certification authority A1 to get the certificates for the entities that are participating in the network on behalf of organization A. And it's the same thing for both organization B and organization C as well. So that relies on this particular color coded certification authority to get the certificates for the entities that participate in the network. And you have a orderer node that is handled by organization D, and it has to abide by the network policies that are decided here. As you can see here, the channel C1 has two peers, which is P1 and P2, because the consortium formed by RA and RB participates in the has formed the channel C1, and it has connected to P1 and P2, and application A1 and A2 can connect to this channel C1, and it can execute the smart contract, and that particular ledger you can see it in L1. As you can see, you have S4 and L1, and P2 has S4 and L1 as well. Next, you have C2 channel, and C2 channel is connected to P3, and it is also connected to P2 as well. As you can see from this structure, one peer, which is P2, which is part of organization B, is part of both channel 1 and channel 2. That is why it has two smart contracts and it has two separate ledger for maintaining the data that is there for that particular channel. So to summarize this, a peer can be part of two different channel, and when a peer becomes a part of two different channel, it maintains two ledger for each of this is particular to one particular channel. So that is how it goes. So from this you can understand how different entities come together as different entities and forms a network. So if you have any doubts in this section, please do revisit in order to understand this completely. This explains how the network is formed. So as this in this slide you can see the explanation that I have explained in the previous diagrams in the previous slide. So if you don't understand, please read this again and again until you understand this, because it's very much necessary. That is it for this lecture. In the next lecture, I'm going to explain you the installation requirements for setting up the Hyperledger Fabric network. See you in the next lecture. Thank you for watching.